Hello everyone and welcome back to the Stamp Box. Today I'm going to go through a very unusual card I found. At first glance it just looks like a normal postcard. Notably there's a lot of stamps on the front of it, which seemed unusual. And very quickly realised that these aren't full-size stamps. They're actually about 3/4 size. And the more I looked into this one, the more intriguing it became. Some of the details it does show. It was printed by a company called Muir and Moody in Dunedin, New Zealand, and there is a date on it of, 1906, so about 120 years old now. Muir and Moody seem to be a major company for printing. On the back it says that it was printed in Bavaria, issued solely for Muir and Moody. So, not quite sure what was happening there. I had a closer look at it. What's interesting is that's tactile. You can actually feel the perforations there. And it's only recently when I started researching it, I realised that they are not perforations. They're small dots imitating perforations that have been pressed into the back of the card. A bit like Braille, to be honest with you. And that seems to give the impression that they're actual perforations. That central crest is also interesting. It's the crest for King Edward VII, who would have been the king in 1906 up till 1911. It's a very sort of rough copy of it. Again, it's embossed. It gives the impression that a seal has been put on top of the card, whereas it hasn't. It's just the way that it's been printed in sort of an extra dimension, embossed form. I tried to find similar on eBay. Now, I'll just point out notably, this one has a building in the middle, and I'll come to that in a moment because it's quite an interesting history of that building. I found many of them on sale on eBay for about $20 to $30 each. They're not rare, but they weren't just from New Zealand. And I did a bit more research on it. Took some time to track down, and I found a name, and I've got it up here on my notes. They were printed by a guy called Otmar Zaher, Z-A-E-H-E-R, I'm not sure on pronunciation on that, in Munich, hence the Bavaria mentioned there. Apparently he printed them for about 100 or more different countries, and I certainly found others. The one missing feature in almost all the others I found was anything printed in the middle there, and so I did some looking into that. I thought I had seen that photograph before, and sure enough it is there in the historical notes for New Zealand. I copied the name down, and again I'm going to be apologising in advance for the pronunciation. That building is what they refer to as a ware, W-H-A-R-E, which is like a communal meeting house. This one is Hinemihi, I think it is pronounced, H-I-N-E-M-I-H-I. It's in the central part of the North Island of New Zealand. Interestingly, it's famous for, in 1886, there was a volcano blew up unexpectedly nearby. 100 or more people killed, but about 50 people managed to survive in that building, and it was quite safe, and it was quite strong, and they were safe. This is where it gets interesting. That building was later sold to Lord Onslow, who was the governor of New Zealand, and he shipped it to England. It's actually been there for about 130 or more years, but there are plans afoot as of quite recently, in the last few weeks. The discussions, I believe, are still going on, to get it back to New Zealand and put it back into its original place, with plans also for a replacement ware in the region that it has been for all those years. Apparently it's quite a central feature in that region for the Maori people living in England. Just getting back to the stamps for the moment, as I mentioned, they're smaller, and I've compared them to others. I've got the New Zealand album here at the moment, about 3/4 size. I did spot in Linns Stamp News, there was an article some time back about the American version of these cards, and they have to make the stamps appear much smaller, and they seem not to be fully shown, which are two things to make it probably more legal. Otherwise, it gives the impression that they're genuine stamps, and that's postal fraud. With regards to that photo, I'll put some notes into the description. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce all the Maori names for the people involved and the actual titles and region that they were in. So I'll put that in the description for anyone to have a look at. Quite a fascinating story about that building and these particular cards. One thing I'd like to know is if anyone else has seen these, maybe just drop a comment, but also if you find any with that central photograph. That's the one thing I couldn't find online anywhere else, so I'm a bit intrigued by that. I just found it interesting that in a lifetime of collecting, I've never actually seen one of those, and the little bit of research I was able to do, there's not many around, but please prove me wrong and maybe drop a comment if you see any others. So that's all for now. I'm quite happy to have that in my collection now and put that into the album. If you have any other suggestions or comments for future videos, please do so. And of course, if you could like and subscribe, I'd be very happy with that. But for now, all the best and happy collecting.